With the release of Goniopholis, a creature that before its release had barely been talked about and basically almost forgotten about in our minds, it got me thinking. What other upcoming features have essentially been forgotten about or just have faded away and might never come back? Well, today we're diving into that, so let's get right into it. This one is a fairly old feature and stems from early Pandora days of the game and when creator mode was officially released into the game as well. But in reality, you can take this all the way back to Devblog 11, all the way back in 2019, pretty much around 6 years ago, where they added some new features in the game and spoke about some features in general, which were food related, various diet stuff for herbivores, with the introduction of berry bushes, roots, mushrooms and more. This was essentially the update that brought a wide variety of food to the game, although they spoke about their plans to include more varied diets, which ended up releasing 4 years ago in 2021, where they added salt rocks depleting thirst, healing mushrooms, water healing roots, and visually depleting bushes. They technically spoke about it initially in Devblog 11, but there was one feature that was mentioned in that devblog that never made it to the game, and that, well, was this specific comment. You will also have to watch out for rotten or poisonous food that will apply a debuff to your dinosaur when eaten, so you can't simply wander around eating everything in sight. Certain dinosaurs will also be able to stomach what others might not be able to, so food competition will be spread relatively evenly across all species. Now, the main thing here is, and the specific case why this is forgotten, is because it never happened. Yes, we have salt rocks that apply a debuff, but we don't have any specific poisonous or rotten food, or do we? Technically, we have the stink plant, which, although technically is a rotten food in a sense, with its stinkiness, only specific dinosaurs can eat it, if any at all. I'm not actually sure if all dinosaurs can eat it, but it can't even apply any debuffs. However, you could take it one step further because in the game's creator mode menu, there are poisonous berry bushes. These have been in the game for a long time. They've been in the creator mode menu since its inception and have been spoken about in the game before as well. You can deplete these food sources manually through creator mode, which shows them deplete in size until when it hits 0 they just completely disappear, kind of when you eat all the yarrow, that just disappears as well. So it also takes the old berry bush design, so it's now distinguishable from the new one. But the kicker is, you can't even find them, you can't eat them, and there is no use for these berry bushes currently. They've been in the game so long, but have essentially been forgotten about and have no purpose. My personal thought with these guys is that they'll be introduced as a proper food source in some form of diet overhaul. There's likely a clear plan to overhaul the diet systems in this game, and I think poisonous food and rotten food are in that plan as well. So there's a high likelihood that these poisonous bushes will come to the game sometime in the future. But what do you think? How would you like them to act? Personally, I think introducing venom or toxin or even poison as an effect from eating these berries would be pretty cool. But that's number 5. Let's get into number 4. Game modes are becoming a big part of the Path of Titans ecosystem, with Team Deathmatch, King of the Hill and Capture the Egg all being tested in various forms, although King of the Hill is currently the favourite child out of the bunch, but there's another one. There's the Ugly Duckling or the Ugly Child that is the least favourite and hasn't been spoken about or given any attention from its parents, and that is Last Herbivore Standing. In fact, there's barely any comments about this in general. The only comment that I found about this was in 2023, where Matt said he was really excited for this game mode. The other one was literally Jiggy announcing the game mode being achieved in the crowdfunding campaign as part of the $190,000 stretch goal. But what is Last Herbivore Standing? Well, technically, it's the 4th official game mode for the game, alongside the 3 I previously mentioned. This is an infected or zombie-style game mode, a style of game mode that's been popularized in various games like Halo or Call of Duty, which sees players starting off on one team with one infected player that has to kill them. When you die to that player or die in general, you join the infected team until there's one user left or the time limit is reached. The developers explained how this would work in general. This will be where players as carnivores will be able to hunt and kill herbivores, turning them herbivores into carnivores when they die. The last herbivore standing will win, and it's very similar to zombie-style game modes in other games. And personally, this is the game mode I'm most excited for, because I'm not gonna lie, it's very different to the other ones in the game, and that's why I think it's taking a little bit longer than the other ones, because, well, when you die in the current ones, the current 3, you come back on your team, but when you die in Infected, you have to switch team, which provides a little bit extra logic to have to work through to ensure that it's not buggy and stuff like that. So it's likely they'll get the first 3 out the way and then start testing last herbivore standing. But what's your thoughts? September of 2022 saw a random public test branch update, seemingly a normal one. Patch 21554 fixed some login issues and a bunch of home cave updates. But there was one very random addition to this PTB build that never made it to the game, and surely might be a case of a feature that was added and will never be officially in the game. And this is proximity chat. Mentioned in the patch notes that it was a very early work in progress draft version of proximity voice chat. Most features don't work yet, but it has the basics. Chat will have some voice debugging logging info which will be removed in the future. It was then explained by Matt, where he said there'll be a non-proxy group chat and a proxy local chat, meaning that Path of Titans would have its own inbuilt party system and its own inbuilt proximity chat standard features. But since then, almost 3 years ago, it's had nothing mentioned about it. Well, I say that there was technically something. I've looked into this before, and there was information about this. During the in-game testing for Pounce and Grab on the public test build, which occurred on the 17th of September 2023, there was a keybind in the control settings under precise movement laid push to talk, which has the keybind of T. There was a clear plan to add this into the game, but after some digging now on the main branch for the game, the keybind doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure it didn't exist on the main branch like back then, but it doesn't exist now either. And unfortunately, we can't even check it out on the public test branch because it's currently not even accessible for us to see. Personally, I think it's safe to say that as an official feature, proxy chat will be highly unlikely to come to the game. Previous discussions on previous videos that I've made have highlighted a negative opinion towards this feature because it could breed a lot of toxicity. But I want your thoughts. Do you want this, or would you think the game's better off without proxy chat? Go back 5 years ago for Path of Titans, or even 6 years ago, and you could see traces of number 2, which is killing animations. Something I would absolutely love to see in the game, but with the overall complexity of this system and the game's current combat system, I'm concerned we might not see it. But this is a feature that's been shown in development live streams, specifically this clip of an aloe clamping down on a Campto until it dies. This is further exemplified in a video that's 6 years old now from the Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign from the 16th of July 2019. At 1:24 in the trailer, you can see a Ceratosaurus pushing a Campto and killing it. This was called out by various people in the comment section too. It was clear that people wanted this feature. But what happened? It never came out, and there's very little communication on this. Maybe, you know, it was just a showpiece, and that's that. Or they actually do plan to bring this to the game, but since the game is developing at a rapid rate, the devs had it on the sidelines. And I think it's more likely option 2, because the devs have spoke about it before. 3 years ago in 2022, after the godforsaken console release trailer, and the servers absolutely shitting themselves when console Path of Titans released, oh, how far we have came since then. As a response to some of the backlash, a user did say this: just to inform, nesting and Sarco Lunge featured are all likely future content, just not currently enabled. Stay tuned, as they never said these are all coming officially other than the Rex. In response to that, Matt said this, however: nesting, lunge and kill animations are all in the works and are coming, just not out yet. Specifically name dropping kill animations mainly because of this incredible shot from the trailer. Either way, you can go back a further 2 years and it was spoken about again, where Matt said we showed a demo of what we want killing animations to be in the Indiegogo trailer, which you can check out. He also said, it's real, it's an example of some features we want to implement with combat and killing animations. We also have a rough idea of how this will work. Back in 2019, Matt said they'll be made in specific ways depending on the size of the dinosaur. Either way, however, of course, kill animations haven't been spoken about in over 3 years now, and no signs of it cropping up for a while again. The last we know is that it's technically coming, but not out yet. The question is, will it? Now I've got 2 bonus features for you here. Kamto's kick is something I wanted to talk about because current Kamto has 1 attack. It's a bite attack, but I was originally going to talk about an old Kamto dance that Jiggy shared a render of and I couldn't actually find it. Either way, Kamto currently has one of the least attacking builds, as I've said. 1 bite attack and technically hop away, but that's it, and a vocal ability. But it did used to have a tail attack that you could use. And the other thing that didn't release at the time was it did or could have got a kick attack. This was shared with an animation from Jiggy in 2019 showing a kick and a bite attack for the Camptosaurus. Unfortunately, that's all we know. The other thing is honey. Another bonus forgotten feature teased in 2020 when Jiggy was sharing beehives, wasp nest, nuts, and even Gary eating a nut. And I'm just saying, Jiggy, if you're watching this, bring Gary as an AI in the game that you can't kill. You know, we don't want to see Gary die, but we want to see him chilling in the trees as like a cryptid of Path of Titans. I know he's on the menu screen, but we need him in the game. Either way, honey was one of the features showcased. Now, I'm unsure if this actually came to the game, but it's not on Gondwar and it's unlikely to be on Pandora. And I believe it was planned to be an edible food source as well, because in fact the old wasp hives, which you can find at delivery points, are also slated to be food, because Jiggy said it's great for a snack if you dare. But that's it. We actually have one more feature to talk about. I'm sure you're here for it. Let's get into it. Grapple comes in at number 1, despite us not having any proper official confirmation, technically, because while I was doing some digging, there's over 200 comments about this in the Discord. No dev comments, but apparently someone did say that it was technically revealed that an old dev interview from Jiggy and Tyrannical Simo mentioned this, and I couldn't actually find a specific quote, so maybe we just have to take their word. If anyone knows which one it is specifically, because there's like 4 dev interviews, let us know. However, there's a website that refers to this, and it's claiming to be a Path of Titans wiki. It's a new Path of Titans wiki as well, which is completely baffling. We have the usual one, and then we have this new one, which I'm pretty sure is official because it has the Alderon Games footing at the very bottom of it. That being said, there is a combat page for it, and it has a lot of combat abilities, not a massive amount. It's got bleed, area of effect, asphyxiation, and more. It misses out stuff like poison, but it does mention grapple, which is really weird because grapple's not in the game. It says this for it: grapple will cause a dinosaur to be picked up or held in place by another dinosaur and can be moved with ease. Grapple does not stack, and only 1 instance of grapple can be active at a time. Grapple can be identified by the dinosaur being possessed by another dinosaur, likely in its maw or claw. Grapple will end when the grappler decides to end the grapple or the grappler runs out of stamina. And as it goes, you could break it down with a bunch of stuff. Now, this website, I just want to say as a quick caveat, this page was made on the 8th of May 2025, so maybe it's official. It cropped up this year, 2 months ago to be exact, but anyways, it mentions that it won't stack. You can move or hold another dinosaur in place with ease. 1 instance will be active at a time, so you can't do it multiple times, multiple dinosaurs grappling someone. It's identified by dinosaurs being possessed by another dinosaur, likely in the maw or claw, the maw being the mouth, and the grappler decides to end the grapple or it will run out of stamina, kind of like grab. Now, a lot of comments and chatter around this identify it to be with Allosaurus, and I think my previous videos talking about this have akined it to be an Allosaurus ability, but it could come from many other dinosaurs because, well, during the pounce and grab testing, and I think it's still here in the Slick Feathers hide, it specifically mentions grappling and grabbing or something like that. I'll have to remember what it says, but I have a screenshot of it here, but it did say grappling. I don't know if it still does now, but if the website was actually legit, that's the first time we've actually heard officially what grappling could be. If it's not legit, we're going back to square one, as what we know is not that much, because aside from the dev interview, I guess. Now, this video has been a lot bigger than I thought, and it's meant to be up at 6 o'clock on Monday, and I know it's not going to be up on 6 o'clock on Monday because I'm recording this at lunchtime on Monday. I just got back from being away, so that's why the schedule for streams and stuff have been all over the place. But that being said, I'm back now. More content coming, of course, and I hope to have some exclusive mod stuff to talk about, but we'll wait and see for that. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you are new, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all later. Have a great day. Peace.